Beloved child, if today you feel like you're caught in a silent pause, if you've been waiting far too long to hear some good news from heaven, then this is the moment. It is no coincidence that you are watching this video. It is not by accident that you scrolled past thousands of other things only to land right here. This is a divinely marked time. And I, your Lord, am speaking this directly to you. Congratulations. You are about to receive very good news from me. This is not a fragile hope. This is a declaration from eternity. A door I have opened long before you even knew what you were asking for. And today I want your soul to prepare, not to keep waiting in weariness, but to receive. I have heard the sighs you swallowed deep inside. I have seen the nights you wrestled alone in silence. I have recorded every tear you shed in secret. Not one of them was meaningless. You may not see anything changing yet, but in the unseen realm, everything has already begun to move. Angels are in motion. Doors are beginning to shake. Things you thought were dead, I am bringing back to life. The words you once cried out in weakness, Lord, I can't take this anymore. Today, I reply, I heard you, and I am moving. This is not a video meant just to comfort you. This is a confirmation. Good news is on the way. Something unexpected. A divine intervention. A breakthrough that you cannot open on your own. And what I ask of you is simply this. Open your heart. You don't need to understand it all. You don't need to be strong right away. You only need the courage to believe that I'm still working quietly behind the scenes. Now, step into this journey with me, because what's about to happen isn't just a miracle for you. It will become a testimony that leads others back into the light. Beloved child, when I whisper into your soul, perhaps you're not yet familiar with hearing that voice amid the noise of this world. But I have always been speaking, not through storms, not through chaos, but through stillness, through a glance, a number, a gentle breeze passing by when you're not paying attention. And it is precisely those things that seem coincidental that are my whispers, a divine invitation for you to step out of old cycles and come closer to the grace I prepared for you before the world even began. You've always thought that to receive a miracle, you had to understand everything, do every step right. But the truth is, you only need to say one word, one honest word from the heart. I receive. When you say that, not from your lips, but from a surrendered soul, all of heaven moves. Things that have never happened before begin to unfold. Not because you are worthy, but because you are willing to believe me. Believe more than fear. Love more than doubt. Do you know this? In the unseen world, where human eyes cannot see, a great transformation is taking place because of your small decision. When your soul opens, the invisible chains wrapped around your mind begin to dissolve. The walls that have stood between you and the calling I gave you begin to crack in silence. And from there a door opens, not because you knocked, but because I opened it. Because only I hold the key to your destiny. You once thought your dream had died? No. I simply laid it down to reshape it, upgrade it, renew it in my light. That dream has not been buried, it is being revived. A dream you once cried over, thinking it had left forever, is now coming alive with a strength you have never known. And this time, it won't depend on your ability, it will rest completely on me. And then you will see. The doors that were once tightly shut will swing wide open, without anyone knocking. Those who once walked away will be replaced by ones heaven has appointed to come alongside you. Old wounds will no longer be your weakness, but will become the marks of glory. Because I do not miss a single tear. I turn tears into seeds. And when you've sown enough tears, the harvest will come. Not just any harvest, but a sacred one, where you reap not only what you once hoped for, but even what you never dared to ask. Many think that miracles happen in grand, extravagant moments. But the truth is, miracles begin in the smallest things. In a decision to forgive instead of retaliate. In a loving gaze instead of contempt. In a thank you whispered during days when nothing seems worthy of gratitude. It is in those moments heaven moves. I want you to listen closely to this. Signs from heaven do not come with noise. They arrive when you step into the stillness of your soul. When you stop searching with your eyes and start seeking by faith. Numbers, songs, sudden fragrances, all of these can be words from me, because I always speak to you in the language of the soul. You're not crazy for noticing strange signs. No, you are awakening. You are opening your heart to eternity. You are no longer a seeker lost in darkness. You are one who walks in light, one who lives among the signs sent specifically for your soul. And the moment you dare to say, "Lord, I see your signs," you have crossed into a new dimension. A place where miracles are no longer dreams, but daily reality. I remember a daughter in Delet. She had walked through depression, lost her job, and thought I had abandoned her. But then she began to see things differently. She recorded each small sign: a Bible verse misprinted in an old book, a wrong number call from a stranger who prayed for her, a hymn that played randomly in a cafe. And from those small things, her faith came back to life. Work came. Her family was healed. Her relationship with me was restored, not through a sudden miracle, but through faithfulness in the small. I also remember a father in Nayan. He prayed every day for his addicted son. No one believed his son could change, but the father kept praying. 5 years, 7 years, then 12. And one day, when the father thought hope was gone, the son suddenly knelt down, not out of fear, but because he saw an angel in a dream saying, "You're not too far to be loved again." Beloved child, what I am about to do in your life will not begin with a loud explosion, but with a whisper. But that very whisper, when met with faith, will start an unstoppable wave. A stream of divine water will begin to flow through your heart, healing old wounds, filling up the dry corners of your soul, and renewing every part you once thought could never be restored. Let me be clear. When you walk in faith, every small decision becomes a mighty declaration. A whisper of, "I still believe" in the dark shakes the gates of hell. A hug you give to someone who hurt you brings joy to angels. A single act of forgiveness, that's when you stand with me, and heaven fights on your behalf. No step is meaningless when you walk in faith. No choice is small when you choose me over the easy way out. You ask me, "Lord, what about the dreams I gave up on?" I answer, "Don't you see me breathing life into them?" You ask, "But I've ruined too much." I reply, "There is nothing you've broken that I cannot make new." You ask, "But I'm not good enough anymore." I just smile and say, "I never chose you because you were good enough. I chose you because I love you, and my love makes you enough." So my child, do not judge my plans by what your eyes can see. Don't let silence convince you that I'm not moving. It is in silence that seeds are planted. It is in darkness that life begins to form. It is in those days when you see nothing that I am building everything. And when the day comes, the dream you forgot will rise again. What you thought was too late will arrive right on time. The doors that seemed permanently sealed will suddenly swing open, and no one will understand how. But you will, because it was me, the love that never sleeps, the one who never forgets a single whispered prayer from your soul. I say this to you now, not to promise ease, but to promise eternity. I do not promise you'll never cry again, but I promise no tear will ever be wasted. I do not promise you'll never face difficulty, but I promise you will never walk alone. I do not promise you'll always understand, but I promise you'll always be held tightly in my arms, even when you're lost. And that truth, not comfort, is the firm foundation for the journey ahead. My beloved child, you have entered a very special season in your journey of faith. This is no longer the time of baby steps. It is the time where I'm leading you into spiritual maturity. A place where you no longer believe only when everything goes smoothly, but you still believe even when nothing seems to change. Not because you understand it all, but because you have begun to realize I am trustworthy even when you understand nothing at all. I see you learning that. You no longer chase after feelings. You are learning to live by my promises. You no longer demand proof. You are starting to say, even if you are silent, I will still follow. You don't know how precious that is to me. The world may not see it, people may not applaud it, but heaven is recording each time you choose to believe, to wait, to guard your heart in purity. And why do I make you wait? It's not because I've forgotten. It's because something needed to be prepared within you. A blessing is not just something I want to give. It is something you must be strong enough to carry. A gift that comes too early can become a burden, but a gift that arrives in its appointed time becomes a crown. Just like Joseph, thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, falsely accused and cast into prison. So many years seemed wasted. But in truth, every step was a lesson. Every forgotten day was a day of refining. And when Pharaoh needed someone, not just talented but wise, not just wise but capable of forgiveness, Joseph was ready. And I lifted him from the dungeon to the throne in a single day. But not in a single night. It was the result of years of preparation through what looked like detours. You too, right? You thought you were delayed, but no, you were being trained. You thought you were forgotten, but no, I was hiding you to protect you from eyes not yet ready to understand you. I was laying a foundation, and foundations are hidden. But when the house is complete, everyone will be amazed at how strong it stands. Without realizing its strength came from the days no one saw you praying, enduring, forgiving silently, obeying in secret. And now you're beginning to hear me more clearly, aren't you? No longer needing a booming voice, just a stirring in your heart, and you know it's me. No longer needing external encouragement, you still keep walking because you know I'm with you. That is mature faith. To believe even without seeing, to step forward even without full clarity, to love even before it's returned. And it is in that place that the blessings begin to pour. Not like sudden rainfall that comes and goes, but like a river, steady and unceasing. Healing begins to flow, not just over your body, but over your mind, your emotions, your memories, even over the places you had locked away in pain. I didn't come to put a temporary bandage. I came to fully restore. I remember clearly the nights you were alone, no one to call, nowhere to turn. But even in that darkness you whispered, "Lord, if you're still listening, please hold me." And I did hear you. Not only heard, I commanded angels to shut doors that were never meant for you, even when you cried thinking you were being rejected. Those doors were closed by me to keep you from paths that would have destroyed what is good inside you. And now that your soul has quieted, now that your faith is no longer as fragile as a candle in the wind, I say to you, it is time. It is time for what I promised to begin to manifest. Not all at once to overwhelm you, but steadily, gently, like morning dew soaking into the earth, like the sun rising from behind the mountain, soft but unstoppable. I am bringing you into new relationships, not to fill a void, but to lift you to a higher place. The people you are about to meet are not random. They are answers to prayers you've long forgotten you prayed. People who carry the same spiritual frequency, the same calling from heaven, the same deep hunger for the Spirit. They won't pull you from your mission, they will pull you deeper into it. You don't need to connect with everyone. Just open your heart to the ones I've sent. Be watchful of the attention that comes from the world. Because when my light begins to shine through you, darkness will react. The enemy will not stay quiet when he sees you walking rightly. There will be words that twist the truth, unfair misunderstandings, and silences that hurt. But do not let any of it stop your steps. Because resistance is a sign that you're nearing your divine summit. Those who were not meant to walk with you will leave. Do not hold on to them. Let me cleanse the ground where I'm about to plant a new grace in your life. And you must remember this. A small act of obedience today is the foundation for a great miracle tomorrow. A steady step in solitude will lead you to places no one has dared to walk. A whisper of "I still believe" in the middle of collapse is a sound that reaches all the way to heaven. The blessing you are about to receive is not a reward for perfection, but a confirmation of readiness. You don't need to be perfect. You only need to open your heart. My child, what's about to happen isn't luck. It is a promise being fulfilled in its appointed time. And I will do it in a way that leaves the world speechless, so they'll know only I could have done it. And when they ask, "How did this happen to you?" you will simply smile and say, "Because I know the one who promised is faithful." Beloved child, I know you've been waiting a long time. I know you've gone through seasons so empty that you didn't even dare to hope anymore. But now the season of receiving is drawing near. The things I once promised, they are taking shape. But my child, it's also in this very moment that I need your heart to be more steadfast than ever. Because you see, blessing is not only something I give, it is something that tests the heart. Many think only suffering causes people to drift away from me. But the truth is, it is glory that more easily leads the heart astray. When you were in lack, you searched for me. But when you are full, what will you do? When the door opens and what you once longed for is finally in your hands, I ask you, will you still kneel in reverence as before? Will you still pray in the midst of success? Will you still give when everything is going well? My beloved, that is where the true test begins. Remember this, not every ease comes from me, and not every praise is a sign that you're on the right path. There are applause that come from the world, but they lead your soul into forgetfulness. There are relationships that seem helpful, but slowly drain your spirit, drop by drop. That is why I urge your heart to remain soft, alert, and humble. Because true blessing doesn't come just to make you happy, it comes to make you a steward. When I give, I do not give to a child, but to one who has matured in faith. I give not just because I love, but because I know you are ready to hold it with integrity. And I want you to remember, the most precious gift is not wealth, not fame, but my presence. If one day you have everything, but lose connection with me, you are poorer than ever before. But if, in the midst of abundance, you still know how to pause, to hear my whisper, to kneel in the halls of honor, to weep in the night simply because you miss me, that's when I know you truly belong to me. I've seen many begin well, but fail to finish beautifully. Because when grace came, they believed they achieved it by their own strength. They forgot the tears they once shed. They forgot the promises they once made when they were in hardship. And little by little, they drifted from me. Not through rebellion, but through neglect. They stopped seeking my will. They stopped needing my guidance. And inch by inch, they fell into pride without even realizing it. But I don't want that for you. I want the blessing to lift you, not to drive you away. That is why when the season of abundance arrives, I teach you how to live as someone who is sent. Not to enjoy it alone, but to serve. Not to boast, but to uplift those still walking the same road you once walked. You used to cry in the night, didn't you? Now, when you see someone crying like you once did, I want you to turn back, take their hand and say, I've been there, and the Lord brought me out. When you begin to live from that posture, you're no longer just a recipient. You become a river of life. And the more you pour, the more full you become. Give not because you have excess, but because you understand the value of small things. A word of encouragement, a prayer, a hug in the midst of pain, a quiet meal. All of these are spiritual acts, and I remember every single one. These things are a fragrant offering rising before my throne. And if you ask, how do I know what is from you and what is from myself? Here's the answer. Anything that keeps your heart soft, humble, and draws you closer in love to me, that is from me. But anything that hardens your heart, breeds self-sufficiency, and makes you believe you no longer need me, no matter how good it seems, is secretly pulling you away. Learn to examine your heart every day. Don't let yourself get lost too long in success and forget where you began. I led you by the hand, not so you would walk alone and forget that hand, but so you would become ever more grateful each day. There's a story you need to remember. A man who was once poor, broken. Then I gave him a job, status, even influence. He prayed, gave, served. But gradually he got busier, had less time for me. Until one day, in the middle of a crisis, he realized, I became so full I forgot God. But I didn't abandon him. I waited for him to return, and when he wept in silence, I took his hand again, just like I did in the beginning. I don't need you to be perfect. I need you to be awake. I don't require you to offer me everything you have. I only ask, are you still willing for me to remain first in your life? If your answer is yes, then I will keep pouring out. Not just wealth, but wisdom, peace that no one can steal, joy that isn't tied to circumstance, and a heart constantly connected to heaven. When you live in that space, you become a representative of my kingdom, not by title, but by lifestyle. And when the world sees how you live, with humility, with love, with deep gratitude, they won't just admire you, they'll come looking for me. Because they see life flowing from within you. That is the greatest reward of all. When your life becomes the voice that calls others home to the Father. Beloved child, now that you've walked through seasons of dryness, now that your soul no longer rushes, no longer complains, no longer demands affirmation from the world, this is the moment I invite you into the next phase. To live as someone who has been restored, no longer striving just to survive, no longer living with a victim mindset, no longer seeking pity, but living as one who has been set free and now lives for a mission. You no longer live just to make it through. You live to lead, to shine, to bear witness. The very things that once caused you pain now become the language of healing for others. The mistakes you once feared to mention now stand as living proof of my boundless grace. I don't need you to speak eloquently. I don't need you to argue convincingly. I don't need you to be exalted. I only need you to dare to live honestly, with your scars held as a spiritual badge of honor. Don't hide what I have rescued you from. Don't stay silent while others are reliving the same pain you once endured. You don't need to shout. You just need to live deeply. A compassionate look, a silent prayer, a pair of open arms, that alone can be enough to turn a drifting soul back around. I chose you not to become a religious model, but to become a dwelling place for me, a living home for divine presence. And from that place you will radiate life without needing to preach. I want you to begin each day as someone who already knows who they are, a child of the light. You don't need permission to live a meaningful life. You have been commissioned. You don't need others to accept you. I have already sealed you. You don't need to win every battle to prove you're strong. It's in the moments you were weak but still chose to believe. That's what makes all of heaven sing. And then, when you live that way, not only will miracles come to you, you will become the miracle for this world. There are things I've taught you, not to make you more skilled, but to make you softer. Not so you could have more, but so you could appreciate more. Not to lift you up, but to teach you to bend low beside those still lying down. And when you learn to live from gratitude instead of need, from presence instead of pressure, from love instead of fear, that is when I can do through you what you never even dared to dream of. Because what I've always looked for is not perfection, but a heart that is willing, soft, and knows this. It is in weakness that my power is made most perfect. My beloved child, if you've listened all the way to the end, it's not because this video is well made, but because your soul knows something is happening. Something deep within you has resonated with the truth that has been spoken. And that truth is this: the season of waiting is over. The season of receiving is beginning, not based on feelings, but on the certainty of faith. Not because you are enough, but because I love you enough. The good news I promised is not just meant to comfort you today. It is the door leading you into a new journey. The journey of someone who knows the value of tears, who has learned the language of stillness, who has grown not because of what they've gained, but because of what they've overcome in me. And if you still doubt, if you still tremble, I do not blame you. I understand. But I invite you right now to say one simple thing to me: Lord, I open my heart. That's all. But those words will echo all the way to the throne of heaven. And from that moment on, the impossible will begin to unfold. Not because you deserve it, but because I am faithful and I never make empty promises. Keep walking forward, not with eyes demanding proof, but with a heart that trusts in the one who goes before you. I have passed through fear. I have broken every barrier. I have borne every wound, just so you could receive this unconditional love today. If you're willing, take 1 minute after this video ends, close your eyes, say nothing, just let your heart be still. And in that stillness you will hear me whisper, I'm about to do something new. And this time, you don't need to strive to understand, you only need to prepare to receive. I love you, and the good news is on its way.